Listening in on this press conference for the last 40 minutes has been military expert Glenn Ignazio, who's joining us on the line. Glenn, what did you think?
It's pretty interesting, and also I would say greatly established. I mean, what we would love to do is see this actually come to fruition, and it is. If you look at hundreds, thousands of years of warfare, to see some kind of peace, that there's actually a map for that. Now, Hamas agreeing to this, I think that they mentioned the trilateral agreement with Qatar, U.S., and Israel is part of that, because Qatar has been hosting and pivotal in the negotiation with Hamas. I think that was important, but it's really a full step, a good step, and a solid plan going forward that really gives things more to the Arab world and a group or a body rather than just Israel, which is what most people were fearing would basically dominate and govern Gaza. So I think it's a great step.
Glenn, we heard a lot about releasing the hostages and peace for Israel. We did not hear about humanitarian aid and relief for the people of Gaza, who have been living in dire conditions for many, many months now, for that relief to get in. What do you make of that and the lack of commentary on that side?
Yeah, I think that's also going to be one of the things that's going to be up to many, or who is going to take a lead. I know they mentioned the World Bank a little bit, and I think there's going to have to be a lot of funding and a lot of countries involved. I know the U.S. was pushing a significant about rebuilding, and I think Trump said something like the new Dubai on the coastline. Now, if that's the case, great, but I think it's going to definitely be the Arab nations, Israel and the United States, really building that up. But it is true that we saw billions of dollars going into that over the years, and unfortunately it being turned to more of weapons and tunnel building. But really, it would be great to see an incredible established city that can sustain itself both monetarily, trade, and etc., rather than depending on Israel. So I think it's going to be a lot more people involved, so it seems fair across the world. But again, an opportunity that goes forward as long as Hamas agrees to this, and I think they're the only ones that really have something to lose.
Do you think Hamas is really going to sign on to a deal that includes a board of peace whose chairman is Donald Trump, who clearly has allied himself with Israel time and time again?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure that they're going to sign up that. So you got a great question there. And also the Palestinian Authority is not going to be part of that governing. So there's a lot of complexities into this. But there has been, again, these are rumors, some leaks and so forth coming out that have said, there's a potential that Hamas may be given safe transit to another nation. And again, that is rumored out there as far as some of these leaks that are going on. But then again, who would take Hamas, because they've offended and really has been negative to many of the countries in the Arab world. But you're absolutely right. Would Hamas agree to this? It has to be something benefit that's going to continue or at least guarantee their security. But again, Palestinian Authority includes management of the West Bank. So that's a lot to bite off on. But it is saying you're either going to survive or you're going to die. So which one do they choose based on what we heard?
Well, that is really significant that the Palestinian Authority could have no part of a new government in Gaza. We just saw Mahmoud Abbas, who is the president of the Palestinian Authority, address the UN by video conference last week, saying we are in this for peace. We agree that Hamas should not form any part of a new government, but we would like to see a peace deal reached. What do you make of the fact that we see Netanyahu and Trump now saying you can't be part of this new government?
Yeah, I think I honestly was expected. I know Netanyahu and Israel in general has said that the PA cannot be part of this at all for many, many, many months. Interesting, if you look at the history, there's been 5 times that there's been a 2-state proposition to have Gaza and Israel. And actually it was the Palestinian Authority. I think the last time was Yasser Arafat that actually turned that opportunity down. So that back and forth has been problematic. So the idea of demilitarizing, getting rid of Hamas, and then the Palestinian Authority that really hasn't had much power and impact. I think trying to change that whole governing body that is going to have impact and influence and try to get to peace is probably the best, because the history there has been very troubled. And maybe this is, again, another step forward, but difficult for those 2 entities to agree to.
Can we just take a second to step back and look at what this messaging actually says? Is this really a negotiation, or is this take our deal or else? They literally said, you've got the easy way or the hard way. Netanyahu said that moments ago. We prefer the easy way, but if not, we will finish the job ourselves. What is that actually saying here?
Yeah, great comment. I mean, behind the doors, behind the screens, what's going on with all these other countries, a lot of negotiation, right? And having the Arab world in there is absolutely pivotal. It has to be part. They have to be part of this. But again, going back to Hamas being the terrorist group, from all the stuff that's going on, plus the hostages, it is giving them basically an ultimatum that you have to approve this. I completely agree with you that you are getting the opportunity to either take this, move on, and if they really care about Palestinians, they will approve this. There's 2 million citizens there, depending on 40, 50,000 militants, and so if they agree to this, there's a peace opportunity and they can survive. If not, war will continue. And so it really puts all the decision on them because of all the Arab world, the U.S., Israel, and everybody else behind this. So they are really the ones that have to decide what the fate of them and the Palestinians will be. Total and responsibility on their heads.
That's a tough position to be in. All right, Glenn, thank you for your time today. Glenn Ignazio, military expert and retired Air Force Special Operations Commander.